Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to When We Walk. This is a little podcast where we discuss the questions we all ask as we walk through life. I'm Micah.
And I'm Shireen.
Let's chat.
So it's fall. It finally feels like fall.
Yes.
We were just
It's
talking
starting
about it.
to, yeah. Mhm.
It's starting to.
Great.
And I just want to say it's fall, y'all. Just like, because it just feels right to say it now.
Yeah,
Because it's
it
like
is.
the thing to
It's
say.
fall. Yes. But remember what you also say about fall.
What?
Is it's one step before winter.
It is.
So you usually don't really love this season. Are you starting to like it a little more?
Well,
Appreciate
because
it?
we live in a place where there is true fall.
It's true.
So I'm trying to.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it still means winter is on its way,
Yeah,
which is,
winter is
I'm
coming.
dreading.
Yep.
But there you
Few
have
months
it.
out, though. Yeah.
Again, a little shout out to our producers back
Yes.
here, Naomi.
Yep.
Give a little wave to our audience.
Yeah.
But Joran,
Yes,
you have a little fun something for us to do
I do.
to start out today.
Yeah.
What is
so
it?
we're gonna play a little game. And
You always
guys-
make me nervous with these,
Yeah.
by the way.
I'm gonna flip my computer for you guys to see,
Okay.
and it's gonna have like a text abbreviation. For example, like LOL, and then you're gonna have to guess what that means. So it means laugh out loud.
Yeah.
They might be easy and they might be hard. I don't really know what you're like.
This is
What
going to
our
be.
level of, yeah.
A couple of these I'd never heard of
Not-
either. So
Oh, if
Great.
you've never heard of them, how are we
This will
going
be
to know?
fun.
we'll see. We'll see.
Just keep it appropriate, Jordan.
Okay.
Okay.
You ready for the first one?
Hopefully
Okay.
it's easy. Oh, I know it. Do you know it?
Yes.
Talk to you later.
Yes.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one was
I got
easy.
that. TTYL.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Oh wait, did I go too far? Did
Okay.
I skip already? Okay.
No, I see. In my
I am-
honest opinion,
yeah.
Oh, honest?
or is it?
Oh, I was
Did you
going
always
to
think
say
it was
humble.
Oh
Yeah.
wait, I can't remember which one. It was.
Yeah.
I think it was honest.
Okay.
Honest
People
opinion.
aren't humble.
No, people aren't humble.
Yeah.
So honest
If you
feels
noticed,
like
that
more what
came
they
out
would say.
first, I think, and then it started to just be IMO, in my opinion.
Yeah. That was
Oh,
one too.
yeah.
People
Okay.
remove the. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
How are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Come
You guys
on.
are killing it. That was really good.
I did not know that
Okay.
one. That took me a minute. Okay.
This might be. There might be one or two more.
Just for you? No.
There's no you.
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Just for
No,
no.
I don't know.
You're close. The first one.
Just for fun.
Just
Yeah.
for fun.
Come on.
Nice.
Got it.
Wow.
There
I'm gonna
might.
start using that one just for
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, that was the last one.
Oh, I think some of them skipped.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So you can maybe go back.
For what it's worth was in there.
Oh, you're right.
Oh,
I
you
think that
saw-
was the
wow.
other one.
Yeah. So I have a story about LOL.
Oh dear.
So when LOL first came out as like a thing,
What, in the 90s? How many
I
times?
mean,
how
it
long?
was so long ago.
This was probably back
was
when
like
you had to
when
do you remember
the
how
T9
the
texting?
T9
Yeah.
texting?
And
If
I
you don't
thought
know
it
what that
was-
is, you need to Google it.
So I thought it was cheesy, and I just was like, I will never write that. I will not,
No.
and I never have,
Never.
except for recently. You got a text from me that just said LOL.
No, I think you
No.
sent me, I sent something.
Yes,
And then
I
your
replied
response
back.
was LOL. And I thought you'd been hacked.
I know, and I saw it and thought, "Dang, my streak has just died." It was my watch.
It was your
automatically
the darn watch.
texted you a LOL back. So I still feel like I kept my streak alive.
No, LOL. Turns out Micah uses LOL now.
Yep, I
it's a
do.
thing. It's your new thing. You can just start using it. Oh, are we done? No more. You don't want to give one more good challenge for us?
Oh, let me think if there's a good one. It's hard because a lot of these are pretty simple.
Yeah.
I feel like some of the ones I've seen on our kids' text are a little more like they don't even use just letters. They'll like shorten words, and you kind of have to figure out what the phrase fully means.
Yeah.
I feel like some of our kids use some of things like this. It's like they've gone back to the let's text like T9.
Oh, yeah.
Even though we
yeah.
can text full paragraphs.
Yeah.
And then I get made fun of
correct actually writes
because
the word for you. Yeah.
I write full paragraphs. I'm like, but we can with
You do.
Capital letters.
They were making fun of you the other day for how
they were
long
making fun
your
of
text
me.
ordered them.
But you can do that. That's the beauty. If you've lived through T9, then you know the beauty of writing long text with punctuation and capital letters and now emojis. Why would you go back? Why would you go back, Jordan?
Do you talk into your phone?
Absolutely, I do.
never do that for some reason. I feel like it takes longer, even though it probably doesn't.
It takes me longer because then I have to go back
You
and
have to
fix
fix it,
everything
yeah.
wrong. Yeah, I
Well,
don't like it.
maybe y'all slur when you speak, but okay. Okay, well, this is a great game, Joran. Thank you for a little challenge because we want to talk about our relationship with technology.
Yep.
And it was kind of spurred because when we go on sabbatical, we try to when we go on sabbatical, kind of like our Sabbath, we want to detach from work, right? So we try not to get on, or we don't get on work emails, or we really set up our lives to detach in those ways. Because so much of everyone's work nowadays is connected through our phones, through computers. And so I know for me, I took off work email off my phone. I took Slack. I took anything that would make me my natural reaction to check for work.
Okay. Yeah.
So my work email, Slack, Voxer. I can't even remember all the other things. We use so many different things.
Yeah.
But I took all of that off my phone. And then I started also taking off social media. So Facebook and Instagram for the whole month. What about you? What'd you do?
Just took off work email and Slack, and then Instagram. I mean, I think I took off Facebook too, but yeah, I mean, I just removed them off my home screen.
So you did keep them on your phone.
Yeah, because it wasn't hard for me to not.
No, you're not on it as much. It's like a muscle memory for me now.
Is it?
So I've had to I have to remove it every Sabbath, and I've even gone to the point of rearranging my home screen.
Oh, okay.
I think I've said that before because it becomes do y'all notice that? Maybe I don't know. Does anybody else notice that where you
Oh yeah.
I just open my phone and go to the first thing. It's muscle memory. And so I've had to learn I need to rearrange my home screen so I don't naturally go to the first place.
Yeah.
But so we both we separated and took some things intentionally off or rearranged, or I turned notifications off for things. Yeah, so I'm not getting my phone dinging as much for stuff. And I feel like after 30 days of it, it really transformed some things.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah, it was really good for me. It was, to me, it kind of the month went into a few different phases. If I were to say 4 weeks, first week felt I kind of miss Instagram, kind of miss staying connected with people and knowing kind of what's happening in the world and on that platform. And then second week was it's kind of nice that this isn't in my life. I don't feel, my brain doesn't feel as cluttered, and I don't feel any kind of need to check in on that. Third week was, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
It was just, it lost, I didn't think one way or another. It just wasn't there. And it wasn't in my headspace. And then fourth week was the dread of, I'm going to eventually enter back into this world because of what we do, because of just relational connection with people that way. And so I started kind of dreading it. So it was, to me, it was missing it. It was appreciating it. It was completely forgetting about it. And then it was dreading going back to it. And we've been back for more than a month now, and I still haven't fully engaged.
Yeah. I feel that.
Social media again. So to me, it was really just social media. I didn't need to do a bunch of other stuff, but I think that's pretty wise if you've got that self-awareness to know, I always go here, so I'm going to take that off too.
Yeah. I think that was actually something I've learned over the last couple Sabbaths. And I was I really need to, when I put it back on, because I have to take it off. When I put it back on, I need to rearrange so it's not in the first place that I would go. But I think for me, my detachment kind of felt similar like that. I think that's why completely getting off for a month felt really good. It felt like this complete detachment. mentally, emotionally. You don't even realize your emotional connection. I did think like I follow so many different people I don't know, right? We all follow people we don't personally know. Like we follow our friends, and then you follow people you don't personally know. Maybe you follow people that you really want to stay connected with who like live other places. And that I did find myself like, oh, I'm missing out on knowing like some people who I wouldn't normally, like I'm not in normal life with, missing out on some of the things that they're probably sharing about their kids or their lives or things like that. But the people I'm closest with, I'm going to text, I'm going to see potentially, I'm going to communicate with, I'm going to find out about their lives. So I'm not missing some of the most probably people who I'm doing life on life with. But then I realized I don't miss any of the people I don't know. Because I don't know them and their lives actually don't matter directly to mine. So one of the things I noticed when I did get back on, specifically Instagram, was I went and unfollowed so many things, so many people, so many accounts, so many businesses that I follow because I want to know about their products. And I thought I didn't miss any of those people. I didn't think about them one time through the whole month. Then that probably means I don't need them in my life.
Of course,
That's a healthy. So I think there were things we both learned over the course of the month of detachment that has given us even more perspective of our relationship with social tech in general, but then specifically social media. What else? What do you feel like you learned in that break?
I mean, I think it just increases our awareness of that our phones don't have to be a direct extension of ourselves all the time. And we're so used to just kind of walking around with a phone in our hand or in our pocket. And they don't have to be that. You know, we can put limits on our phones. We can, have some boundaries, healthy boundaries with phones. And so to me, coming back into normal life, it has allowed me, not just personally, but also like with our kids, to have a greater sensitivity to the amount of time we spend on our phones together, like just collectively as a family, how much, you look around our house and somebody's got
picked
their
up their
face on
phone
the
and
screen.
just sitting.
And so it just kind of increases that awareness, because if you don't ever pull away, it becomes normal life and you never really think about it anymore. Like it just is what is. And you don't really evaluate it. You accept it as normal reality.
Right.
And I love the wisdom of, pulling, I think it was Mike Kelsey.
Oh yeah.
Who said
Who's
one
the
day.
pastor at McLean Bible.
Yep. He one day a week be away from
which
phone
we do
or
that with
social media.
Sabbath.
Yep. And then 1 month a year.
Yeah.
Or did he also say 1 week?
So he says 1 day a week, 1 week a month maybe,
then 1 month a year.
and then 1 month a year.
Yeah.
Which when you break that down, that's a lot of time off, like kind of a break from social media
really
or
is.
tech in general.
Yeah. And so I think but one of the things it does is not only like the immediate ways that our screens shape us, but also it just kind of gives us a greater awareness as we go back into normal life about, where this fits in our lives.
I think that's so important. One of the things I realized, so I actually from a long time ago, probably almost a year ago, when I started doing this with Sabbath, I never put the Facebook app back on my phone. I realized...
I mean, you don't really like Facebook anyway.
I've grown to not like it. Sorry for all you Facebook lovers out there. It has not become my favorite space. I do it because we have a lot of family and people who are still on that, in that, and not on Instagram. But I do love Instagram. And so I'm learning like, okay, Facebook I didn't really love, so I could not have that app. But here's the problem we have now is that it has become such a primary form of communication for people.
Yes. Yeah.
Like someone will sometimes tell me, hey, I sent you a Facebook message. And I'm like, I almost never check those.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't put them on as like, I know some people, they use it as their texting kind of thread.
Invites, like people will be like, hey, are you coming to the thing? What thing? Well, I invited you to it. And
I invited you on Facebook.
Right,
I'm
exactly.
like,
Yep.
that is the only way you send an invite.
Right. Yeah.
I did not. I definitely didn't get it. And so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're sorry for all those people. We missed your things because you invited us on Facebook.
Yeah.
But I realized if I need something, like if there is a need to get back on and like check for something, I can just do it on my computer, on a web browser,
Yep.
look exactly for the thing I'm looking for, and then be done.
Yeah.
And then it keeps me from the scroll,
Yeah.
which is the danger zone, the doom
Yeah.
scrolling,
Yeah.
the just whatever, all of that. It's the scroll that gets in your head and heart. But the hardest part for me is Instagram because I do love it. Because it's not inherently bad,
Right. Yeah.
right? There are good things about it.
Yeah. We learn a lot from, I think the access we have to information, to ideas is really great. I mean, it's endless at this point. But the difference between the way social media operates versus the way and even YouTube operates this way versus if you're to get on Google and just search for something you're interested in, you're going to a particular topic or idea to learn about that particular topic or idea, whether it's news, sports, weather, or whatever, but or a concept that you want to learn or whatever. But the way social media works and YouTube works is they tell you what to think about.
That is so true.
And so that's what I've had to get really careful about.
Because now they're suggesting things, they're curating a feed for you. Even though you're choosing who you follow, they notice, they take notice, and then they create based off that.
Of course. And so tiny little things that I'm trying to do better is in between meetings, for instance. Sometimes just walk in the halls, I'll just flip my phone open up Instagram and just see what's going on. But I've learned it pulls me out of the headspace I want to be in before I go into this next meeting. And even though it feels pretty harmless of I've got 5 minutes before I walk into this elders meeting, I'm just going to check Instagram right quick. But if there's something on there that captures my attention or a message on there that captures my attention, that pulls me out of the headspace that I want to be in walking into an elders meeting, I don't like that. And so I've gotten to get I've gotten more careful about, just checking throughout the day, unless it's an intentional moment where I want to learn or check in or something like that. Also, though, not just social media, but just tech in general.
Yes.
Like tech in general, I think. So I have this little, what do they call it? One of the do not disturb things on your watch and phone. Like the settings you can create, work, sleep, all of that. So for my work, in my work hours, the only people who can
use that?
Yeah, the only people who can get through to me.
I've never used it.
And it just automatically turns on at a certain time, automatically turns off at a certain time.
Oh, that's smart.
And
I probably should use
the only
those.
people that can get through to me that it will buzz me for
Hopefully
are
me.
you,
Great.
our family, and 3 or 4 people on staff.
You should probably put the school too, just a little
Probably,
tidbit.
that's probably wise. but I still check. I can still look and look at the notifications on my phone to see what I've missed. But I don't get buzzed by anybody except for a small handful of people that I have allowed to kind of get through the filter. And it really helps me from a focus standpoint as I go throughout my day.
Wow. Okay. I need to use that more. I've seen that feature. I'd click it to do not disturb for different things like right now. So I'm not buzzing during a podcast, but I never thought to have settings like that. That's really smart.
It takes a little time on the front end, but it's
tech. There are some good things about tech that do help us with our lives.
Totally. I love tech.
You do love tech.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Do you remember
my Palm Pilot?
Well, yes, you did have a Palm Pilot. I mean, we could go down the list of all your tech. Yeah. But when we first started dating, that you wanted a computer.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before.
Have we talked about it on here? Yeah. Your computer that you got? It was terrible. You got it off eBay.
I thought it was cool.
You were so excited about it. Yeah. It was tiny.
Yeah.
It was before laptops were even really a thing. You've always wanted to be kind of on the cutting edge, but our budget has never afforded us to be on the cutting edge.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just dreamed to be on the cutting edge. You do. You love tech.
I've always loved it.
In every facet.
Yeah.
Whether
when I was a little kid, I wanted a metal detector so bad because I saw a guy with one on the beach, like this super cool setup with the headphones, and he's like finding treasures in the beach. And so I asked my parents for one, and they got me this tiny little, like, I mean, kind of the kid version, and there was nothing to do with it.
Oh yeah.
And so I would throw coins into my
like a
backyard.
Fisher Price.
Yeah. I would like close my eyes and throw coins into my backyard and then go and find them.
Oh my gosh.
It did not, the love affair with metal detectors lasted about a week. And
that's
I
unfortunate.
realized they're not as cool as I thought they were.
That is a sad disappointment.
But yeah, I've always been drawn to
But you've always loved
yeah.
tech. And so there are good things that it brings into our lives.
There are lots of good things.
But
we've boundaries.
Boundaries, because we become so dependent upon it. Like we were even just talking today with a lot of our producers of like, I cannot go anywhere without my Maps app now. I don't know what I would do without Maps.
Yep.
I don't know if
great.
I could get around my hometown because I still know those streets because I had to learn them without a map. But I don't think I could get around even Omaha built on a grid. There's still times I'm like, I need to use my map. But it's helpful because there have been times you check and you're like, oh my gosh, Dodge is completely backed up. I have to go a different route. And so it is helpful. But then the dependence is what, like, because we've known life without some of these things, I feel like I should be able to do this without this. I should be able to do this with just my brain.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's different for like Joran, their generation, Joran, Naomi. Do you only use Maps? Do you ever?
Well, I don't know if I'm the one to ask because I get lost really easily just in general. So I depend on it for sure.
You've never driven without Maps, have you?
I have.
Like your driving career.
Oh yeah. No, I don't know how.
Access.
I don't know how people did it with just like paper maps.
Yeah.
I feel like I would not be able to survive.
That was
Have you
a pain.
ever had to use a paper map?
No.
Oh wow.
So
See?
like our generation has
So
lived
different.
through atlases.
Yep.
I remember atlases.
I remember having an atlas in the back
Paper maps. And
as
then
we took road trips.
MapQuest, which was like, oh my gosh.
That was the
Do you
game
remember
changer.
MapQuest? Does that a
Oh,
thing?
no.
Okay.
There's
It
no
sounds
way.
really familiar, but I
You
don't
would
think
type
so.
in your destination. It would create your
Your
route
route.
for you, but then you'd have to print it out.
Because you're doing it on
Oh.
your home computer and you need it as a printed map.
It would print it out.
But that was a game changer because you didn't have to highlight your route on an atlas.
Yeah.
Someone else, the computer just gave it to you. It was
Yeah.
like magic. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
But that's the whole point is what I'm saying. Like, there's beauty to it, but yet there's still this dependence that you're like, I feel like at times I need to break it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what sabbatical felt like for me is I need to break some what I feel like is this dependence on specifically my phone, my relationship, because it becomes like what you feel like this relationship, healthy and unhealthy at times. So one of the things I did notice too, and we had like gone to a conference where there was a pastor who talked about how their church did like a digital fast. And that's a whole nother conversation that
I'm
we might
thinking
get to.
about it.
I know we're considering a digital fast, which I'm excited about. But I think, you have to prep for something like that because there are people who use tech for work and things like that. But one of the things I remember him saying is it's healthy to take anything off your phone that is a time waster or a scroll. Like he made the joke and he's not wrong. Like nobody's scrolling the Southwest app. Like you have that on there for a function.
Right. Yep.
But I did find, here's what I realized I took Instagram off and I thought I was doing so good. I took my email, all of that. I found myself scrolling Amazon.
I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
And I've had this like guilt. So here was my challenge. Social media, both of us succumb to the suggestions of things you should buy.
Yeah.
Right. And so I noticed that lessening for me. Like I felt a little more contentment with just where we were in life. Plus we had too many things going on over sabbatical. So didn't have time to think about shopping and what I wanted. But with less being fed to me of what I should get or think the scroll thinks I need, I realized I was going searching for it on my own. And then I was I realized this is unhealthy. Like I am looking for something because I was being fed that so much. I realized I thought I needed it. So I was going looking for it. And I ended up having to take Amazon, Target. I took Pinterest. I mean, I just went on a, like, I'm going to take all of it off because anything that I realize I can scroll pulls me in, like you said, just gets my mind off of things that I would rather be on. And I realized that was so much healthier to take all those other things off for that. It was like the last 2.5 weeks or something.
Yeah. I think it's kind of knowing ourselves, knowing what we're drawn into, knowing what's productive or not. I think it was John Wesley who said, this was way before technology.
Did he have much to say about technology?
But he said, do something until it ceases to be productive and then move on. That's my paraphrase.
Oh, wow.
But
That's
just
good.
in life, just a good life rule. And, that's to me, like even you can apply that to rest. You can apply that to recreation. You can apply it to work. You can apply it to tech. The idea that like these are useful, they're useful things in our lives. Let's use them until they cease to be productive. It's not producing in me anything worthwhile. It's time to move on. And so I think, for instance, what Jonathan Haidt is doing right now.
Okay.
This guy.
Yeah.
Is really,
I want to read that book,
really
by the way.
interesting.
If anyone,
he wrote The Anxious Generation.
Yes.
He's written several other books, The Coddling of the American Mind. But, and I haven't
Pretty good
read
thinker.
them. I know the concepts and some quotes and things. But right now he's kind of on this campaign to do 4 things. He thinks he would say this: in 1 to 2 years, we can reverse the mental health decline in Gen Z if we'll do these 4 things.
Ooh.
In 1 to 2 years.
That feels like a quick turnaround, but that
he's
also
confident.
shows you how integrated into
Because
that this is causing, the problem this is
science
causing.
shows what a direct correlation there is to the declining mental health in Gen Z to social media in particular.
Yes.
And to tech, but to social media in particular. And the science is so clear right now.
Yeah.
I honestly think there will come a time where we look back and I think about my mom, that book in my mom's house, Better Homes and Gardens or something from the 60s that talked about when you're pregnant, you might want to consider how often you smoke.
Yes.
Like limit your
that was
smoking.
new thinking back then.
Brand new thinking.
You maybe shouldn't
and now
smoke
we're like,
when you're
why
pregnant.
would you smoke when you're pregnant?
Yeah.
And I honestly think our kids are going to look back and be
I
like,
think so.
because the dangers between social media and mental health on adolescents. I mean, it's impacting all of us.
Mostly Gen Z because,
but it's
like Jordan said, like
16 and under right
they've
now
all
are just
grown up with it.
eaten alive mentally. And so his 4 things are to know smartphone before high school.
Okay.
To use Apple Watch or flip phones. And the way he says it, he said millennials had flip phones and it did not have a detrimental effect on their mental health. And again, science shows that. So he's like, flip phones, Apple Watch, just things you can't just scroll.
And there's those phones like you can get just for kids, like the Gab phone and things like that.
So that's his first one. No smartphone at all before high school. No social media.
Well, we've already botched that.
I know. Great. We are not doing this is kind of his new campaign that's really catching my attention. The second one is no social media before 16.
Yeah, I do like that one. I've read that one a lot.
The impact that social media has on a developing brain.
Yep.
And he even ties it more closely to puberty. Like once your kids have gone mostly through puberty is a good time because their brains are forming so much during those.
They're still like a little
puberty
sponge.
Yep. The third is no phones in schools.
I love that one. Yeah. I'm so for that
I'm
one.
so afraid that one's going to get politicized.
I think it will.
One side's going to say yes and one side's going to say no, and we're going to forget the logic
well, because
and
of
behind it.
we're now saying it's a safety issue.
I just think
so
that's really important, especially having kids in school right now who take their phones to school and hearing how little they're engaged in the classroom because they have access.
And teachers, you hear it from teachers. Yeah.
And then the fourth, and this to me is the most interesting, is more independent play in the real world.
Ooh,
like let your kids be out in the world. Like let them
hover over
build
them.
relationships, get in arguments with friends. I mean, one of the things he talks about in one of his earlier books is really interesting. In a generation that stopped playing, kickball and baseball in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
and learning how to deal with conflict with one another.
Oh, yeah.
Now, and this is for millennials, now they just run to HR to say, hey, will you address my coworker who's
because they don't know how to do it,
or wearing this thing, or because
they're
don't know
afraid
how to have healthy conflict.
Yeah.
Or, we rely heavily on HR. We rely heavily on government. We rely heavily on authority structures to make things right because we've lost the art of conflict resolution. Because we didn't play ball in the neighborhood. We stopped playing ball in the neighborhood.
But that's so real and true. I think about when who did you play with? You played with kids in your neighborhood. And if you had a disagreement, even though you just ran home and whatever, the next day, who are you going to go play with? The kids in your neighborhood. Right. So you got to go work it out. Like those are your friends. Yeah. And so you had to work it out. I totally did. I remember those I'm going home. I'm done playing with you. Right. Well, then the next day, we're going to play again. Yeah. Okay. Let's work it out.
And not only does it help proactively, it helps them kind of learn how to just be human and deal with other humans. But it also, the phones just steal away those opportunities where you're just distracted. And so the less phone, the more likely you are to engage. So to me, these 4 things, he says, if we do these 4 things, he believes confidently, we will begin to see a reversal of overall mental health of the generation in 1 to 2 years.
Oh, wow.
It's a pretty bold statement.
That is, I feel like we could do a whole nother conversation of just this in regards to the younger generation and like how as parents we should approach this, or teachers or youth leaders, anybody. And maybe that we save some of that for another conversation, because I feel like there is a responsibility that we have. First, I think, and you and I learned this on sabbatical, we learned we have at times unhealthy relationship with our phones and with social media and with tech.
We haven't modeled it great to our kids.
We haven't modeled it great. We didn't know the damage it was going to cause when we first got our iPhones and modeling it with our tiny kids sitting on our phones scrolling. We had no idea. And now here we are, and we're watching the damage it is potentially causing. And I think we're learning. And now we have to, because we're the adults in the situation, we have to figure it out for ourselves first. And then we've got to have better boundaries to help our kids. And I think that could be a whole nother conversation maybe down the road. But
the point
I think it's worth
for everybody is the self-awareness.
Yes.
And as parents, it's trying to help our kids become self-aware.
Right.
But for adults, it's just regardless of what phase of life you're in, social media is designed to suck you in.
Yep. And you have to be aware of that.
There's so many things we miss out on when we live and breathe on our phones, when it ceases to be productive, when it ceases to create new ideas or increase learning or increase connection. And it just becomes scrolling to escape or scrolling because you're bored. You miss out on the real world.
So I think that's a good question for us to end on for people who are listening. Like, what is your relationship with your phone, with tech, with social media? Like, being honest, being okay, saying, I might have a little bit of an addiction. Yeah. And then what can you do to start breaking that? Like, if you practice Sabbath, taking off social media, taking off the apps that are kind of your vice, maybe your escape, your comfort, don't help your mental health. Try it and see what it does. Try it for longer than a day.
Yeah, I like the 1 day a week, 1 week a month, 1 month a year. Like,
I love that.
At least try one of those. Yeah. And see what it does.
Because a longer break actually really shifts your brain, shifts your mind, and helps you have a healthier perspective, I think. So something for all of us to think about more often than we probably do.
It's good stuff. Very important. Well, thanks so much for joining us on When We Walk. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and we will see you next time.